In a changing defense procurement landscape, some things stay the same, such as big program cancellations and countries' financial constraints. Money matters seem to have hit even Europe's largest national economy, or at least its armed forces. Germany, which in 2020 put on hold one of its long-running acquisition programs, the heavy lift helicopter replacement tender. The initial plan was to procure 44 to 60 aircraft with a budget of $6.4 billion, approved by the German parliament in 2018. The Bundeswehr should have made a choice between Boeing's CH-47G Chinook and Sikorsky's CH-53K King Stallion to replace its CH-53G fleet and award one competitor a contract by 2021. While industry was hoping for the tender to undergo a smooth process, Berlin's announcement late last year caught many off guard.
Germany decided that the offers from industry were uneconomical, which effectively suggests that when Boeing and Sikorsky, who are competing for the heavy lift contract, had put forward their offers, I think the German MOD got a little bit of a shock and clearly thought, well, that's over our estimations or calculations in terms of budgets, so we need to have a rethink. And so they've gone away, and there's been a slight restructuring in where things in the program overall, insofar as instead of running through the process with industry, the German MOD have gone directly to the US DOD and asked for aircraft pricing. So that, you could also say, is a little bit odd in terms of process. You know, why insist on going through a procurement that to this point has been about 4 years, even longer, with industry, and have them on board, and have them look at developing supply chains across Germany, and making a big thing out of how German industry will help support the program itself, and then kind of rip those plans almost up entirely overnight and say, no, the pricing is just completely off here. We're just going to go and take a step back and go directly to the US DOD, because I imagine that the aircraft pricing, if you're going to request it from the US DOD, is similar to what industry will be telling you anyway. So that to me is very, very odd, and you're left with this complicated process, and you would also suggest that Germany is in no better off position than they were when they first started this thing. So I think it is quite concerning.
Evidently, since December, the German MOD has been considering new ways of moving forward with the program, even though the public eye still struggles to see the full picture. And as of February this year, a joint letter by the German Defense Minister and the Inspector General of the Bundeswehr set a new deadline for a decision to be made by Q2 2021. As this soft deadline approaches, bidders should see a new contract outline in the coming months. Meanwhile, the country's current heavy lift helicopter fleet is approaching a service life of 50 years.
In terms of readiness, as I mentioned, you would just look at the more obvious and troubling things, which are that you have a fleet of aircraft that are over 40 years old, and that can't be healthy in terms of getting troops on the ground, in terms of efficiency and things like that. As I say, Germany use these helicopters in Afghanistan, and there's nothing in terms of short-term planning that would really trouble Germany. I think that's fair to say, in terms of need for heavy lift aircraft. But certainly there is an issue in terms of just letting this thing drag on and drag on. It's just not sensible from a funding perspective. And it's really, I suppose, it's not really being fair to those in the armed forces either, really, to expect them to continue to work with very old equipment.
Despite Germany's decision to stall its heavy lift program, there is still strong market potential for the CH-47G and the CH-53K. The future battlespace is likely to see rotary platforms forced back from strategic areas of interest due to increased standoff ranges.
According to Defense Insight program dataset, there are a total of 12 program opportunities, including one of these two helicopters. The total requirement is forecast to be up to 262 platforms between 2021 and 2030. This equals to over 34.4 billion spending in the next 10 years. Definitely, the US Army and the Marine Corps are the top customers. However, Israel, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, UAE, United Kingdom, Indonesia, and Afghanistan are among the militaries which are interested in these types. The US Marine Corps is planning to procure up to 200 King Stallion helicopters to replace its aging fleet of CH-53Es. The prime contractor Sikorsky is working on the King Stallion development project since 2005. However, the program has been delayed over 7 years and recorded a cost increase of around 15.3 billion. According to US Government Accountability Office, the export customers are still interested in this type. Israeli Air Force plans to buy around 20 heavy-lift helicopters to form a squadron that replaces its current fleet of Yasur helicopters. These are expected to retire in 2025 after 50 years of service.
Outside Europe and the US, Israel has decided to take a significant step in its Momentum multi-year plan, with a multi-billion-dollar package that paves the way for new procurement to replace aging platforms. Back in February, the Israeli Minister of Defense, Benny Gantz, announced the Sikorsky CH-53K King Stallion had been selected to replace the Israeli Air Force aging Yasur helicopter fleet. No details have been disclosed so far on costs and deliveries, but the prospect of a potential deal highlights US commitments to support Israel's security.
Yeah, I think the decision for the IAF to go ahead with the King Stallion will definitely be a boost for Sikorsky and give them confidence that the aircraft will be in demand for some time from foreign customers. That's probably the first point to raise. In terms of whether it was a surprise or not, the decision itself, you could argue it both ways. Because Israel already have the Yasur fleet, the CH-53D. The transition to the more capable aircraft, and having worked with Sikorsky Lockheed Martin, for the better part of the last 30 years and beyond on heavy lift aircraft, then you could just as well say that, well, they know the manufacturer, and they're aware of how capable the aircraft will be. They've also have previously looked at both the Chinook and the 53K up close. That was important in terms of how they came to the decision. So the IAF or some senior leaders at least were out in the US to kind of test and trial the aircraft, have prior to this decision being made. So yeah, I think bottom line, it's obviously good news for Lockheed Martin and Sikorsky.
The more expensive King Stallion beat the Chinook in Israel, which will buy the new heavy lifter through the US Foreign Military Sales Framework. And the new capability will deliver greater payload capacity and 3 times more lift to Israeli troops. The country is in a rush to retire its Yasur fleet by 2025, which means a contract award is expected this year.